All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a really powerful tool today, something that can bring some serious clarity and strength to your business. It's called the Unified Messaging Framework. And look, this isn't just some fancy theory for giant corporations. It's a total game changer for any local business owner who wants to build a brand that people really trust. But first things first, let's do a little gut check, shall we? Just think about this for a second. If I asked one of your employees to describe your business, would they say the same thing your website does? Does your social media vibe match the promises you make to your customers face to face? Really be honest with yourself.
If you're hesitating, or if the answer is a flat-out no, then you're probably dealing with something called diffusion. It sounds kind of technical, but all it really means is that your core message gets weaker and more watered down every single time it's shared. And that creates confusion, which ultimately costs you trust with the people who matter the most.
So let's unpack this whole messaging mix-up. We're going to see exactly how these little inconsistencies can actually hurt your business, maybe even demotivate your team, and for sure, hit your bottom line. And believe me, diffusion isn't some abstract theory. It shows up in very real ways every single day. Maybe your sales team is out there promising one thing, but your service team is delivering something else. Or maybe the story you tell your community doesn't quite line up with what your employees are experiencing on the inside. All these little contradictions, they add up, and they slowly chip away at your brand's integrity. Okay, so how in the world do we fix this? Well, it's not about just, writing better ad copy or a catchier slogan. It actually takes a fundamental shift in how you even think about messaging in the first place. And here it is. This is the core of the whole idea. So many businesses make the mistake of treating messaging like decoration. It's the pretty words you slap on a website at the very end of the process. The strategic move is to see messaging as translation. It is the disciplined work of taking your one single core brand idea and then translating it for every single person you talk to. It's strategy, pure and simple, not just copywriting. I love this analogy. Think of a builder with a single blueprint for a house, right? One master plan. Now, the instructions they give to the plumber are going to be totally different from the instructions they give the electrician. The words are tailored for their specific jobs, but they all serve the exact same master plan. That is strategic translation. One core idea, just adapted for each audience. All right, enough with the theory. Let's get super practical. Before you write a single word for your website, before you plan a social media post, you need to run a simple diagnostic for every audience you're talking to. And it all starts with asking 4 simple questions. This 4-step sequence is basically your anchor. You have to start with reality. What do people actually think about you right now? Then, figure out your goal. What do you want them to believe? Number 3 is the big one. Why should they believe you? This is your proof, your unique selling proposition, the thing only you can deliver. And only after you've answered those 3 do you figure out the one key message you have to get across. So now let's see how these questions build into this incredibly useful tool that you can start using today. It's called your messaging matrix. This is where all that strategy becomes a real actionable plan. First up, you've got to identify the most important groups you talk to. For most local businesses, it's going to boil down to these 4. Your customers, of course, your employees, your local community, and your key partners and suppliers. You can't speak to everyone at once, so getting focused is, it's key. And when you put it all together, it looks just like this. It's a simple grid for each of your audiences in that first column. You just walk through those 4 diagnostic questions we just covered. You just fill in the boxes. And the magic here is that while the final message in column 4 might sound a little different for each audience, it's all going to be rooted in the very same core idea and proof. So you might be thinking, wow, that seems like a lot of work. But why go through all this trouble? Because in today's incredibly noisy world, this kind of discipline pays off in really big ways for your business. Moving from confusion to coherence is a massive competitive advantage. Think about social media. You have 2 seconds to get your point across? When your message is consistent everywhere, it's so much easier to shrink it down into a powerful, clear post that cuts through all that noise without losing its meaning. Coherence means your message actually lands every single time. Okay, and this next one is huge right now. When somebody searches on Google for a business like yours, it's often an AI that's summarizing what it finds about you online. If your messaging is all over the place, that summary is going to be weak and confusing. But if you repeat the same key ideas with discipline, you're basically teaching Google and other AIs exactly who you are and why customers should pick you.
And let's bring it right back home to your community. In your town, the words you use over and over again, in person, online, in your shop, they don't just sell things. They build your reputation. They define your culture. Consistent language builds trust, and in a local community, trust is absolutely everything. But just remember, this framework is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. Your business is going to evolve, and your messaging has to evolve with it. You should think of it like maintaining a garden. It needs ongoing attention, a little governance, to keep your brand strong, aligned, and healthy. So the most important thing is to just get started. Don't feel like you have to boil the ocean here. Just ask yourself this one question. What is the single most important idea that your customers, your employees, and your community need to understand about your business right now? Start there. Translate that one idea with discipline, and you'll be amazed at the clarity it brings.